Welcome to our 22nd, believe it or not, Help Save Our World Speakers online meeting. This is our third meeting on food. Change the conversation and we change the world. Hello, I'm Dennis the teacher and I will be your host for this meeting. I'm the author of 3 books, Beyond the Age of Ignorance, The Quest for the Truth, Gifts. In Giving and Receiving, we maintain the balances of life, and The Feminine Revolution, the feminine truth unveiled. I'm the creator of this website, this movement, and the speakers meeting to help save our world. And of course, I have created a Help Save Our World YouTube channel so we can post the videos from these meetings into that YouTube channel. This meeting is for 1 hour, at which time you're welcome to leave. I will stay after the meeting for any questions and answers and general discussions and sharing. The meeting's main purpose is to bring concerned people together who are interested in our mission to help save our world and want to create a happy, healthy, and sustainable future where the people of the world live in love, balance, and harmony with all life in an age of reason. We do this by sharing our knowledge, skills, and natural wisdom, which the people of the world need to change the way they think and live in the world, so that they can manifest a future where they thrive. For too long, institutionalized power, media, education systems, religions have controlled our conversations, thus controlling the hearts and the minds of the people, thus controlling how they live in the world. It is now time for the people to change the conversation, to speak out. And this is about the people's voices, the voices of the voiceless ones who need to be heard. Things like there's so many poor people and animals and nature and indigenous cultures, just and everyday people who care, and then animals and plants and insects and microorganisms that don't have a voice. And it's through this medium that we give them that voice. We all need to be heard. This forum is not about complaining and pointing fingers. It's about focusing on hope and being positive, coming up with positive solutions. The conversations are to reveal the truth, what the problems are, and how we can solve them, while broadening your perspective, leading you through a transformational journey to the world that we all deserve to live in. We need to know the trends and the consequences of our current paradigm, so we are motivated and driven to find solutions and to create these systems urgently. We need to share hope, alternatives, solutions instead of fear and despair. Together, we have the power to transform our world, the whole world that we manifest around us. And humanity is that power. So it really is about us taking the conversation and the wisdom to humanity to transform our world. If we don't do that, we change nothing and we carry on making the same mistakes that have happened throughout history. So the purpose of these meetings is to create succinct recordings of what each one of us has to say, and for me to lead you through this journey of change. And that's what I do by bringing in the topics and leading the conversation in different directions. And it's a way of getting you to see the world in a totally different way. So this 1 hour meeting's main purpose is to guide participants on a quest for the truth and transformation, which is based on my life's journey and of seeking and questioning to find the truth and the natural wisdom of nature in the world and the cause of its problems, and then to find the solutions for those problems. Let us begin with brief introductions. What's your name? Where you're speaking from? Where you heard about us? And briefly then tell us about your basic purpose. And later on, you'll get to speak some more. So let's start with Diane.
Hi, my name is Diane Perry. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I met Dennis at Toastmasters, and I have a nonprofit that's Earthian Stewardship with a goal of actionable people that are creating restoration of our soils and our water. So that's my goal, is to bring everybody together, a lot like Austin. So Austin, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Diane. Kurt, could you continue, please?
Sure, I could. My name is Kurt, a nice, succinct name for how I intend to play today, which is coming up with some small little gems of awareness and feedback. I say that because I think all of us could ramble on for hours on this topic, and that's what brought me here, was that we have like-minded views of the world and what's going on with it and what our place in it is, and how we can impact it and the direction that it's heading in a way that would obviously be more sustainable and enjoyable, and the world that we all get to live in versus the world that has become. So thanks for being partners in this movement.
Thank you so much, Kurt. Lorna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. My name is Ernest Stewart. I am based in South Florida. The way I got to the meeting is because I met Dennis when he was, around here. I am a humanistic advocate using personal branding to achieve my calling and make it available for people that are ready to own their own. And I think this is a perfect space, one of the perfect space I can do that. And I hope to make a difference.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Brendan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm
Okay.
Brendan. I came into Alex and Dennis's family about 2 years ago, and I've been on this mission with Dennis and Alex in order to better the world for the last two and a half years now. And yeah, that's what we are trying to do. Trying to spread the word, get it out there so that we can actually benefit everybody, and it's not to just benefit ourselves, but the whole world.
Excellent. Thank you, Brendan. Okay, Austin, you're up. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Austin. My writer's name is Austin Savoir, meaning to know. It's kind of more so to discover. Currently, I live in Cape Coral, Florida. I actually used to live in the Broward region, so that's very interesting that we have not met yet. And I was in Toastmasters in Coral Springs, Florida, which is kind of a really small world here. Currently, I am working on a couple of projects, bringing it all together into one place for now. So I talked to a couple of nonprofits, and we saw a need to close the gap between those in action and those who want to take action. Our vision is to do that with our community of partners and sponsors. We will have created an opportunity for those who want to take action, a productive and effective effort towards the overall vision in the community. Basically, to demonstrate healthy, sustainable lifestyles with a community effort and a bold plan. And for what I like to say about this, for a mission statement, it's an idea. For sustainable living solutions, one designed by the development of NeoSprout and its following. It's called NeoSprout. We're creating an app to basically bring nonprofits together on one end, and the other ends create a opportunity for people to raise money specifically to give to people in action and organizations in action of solutions for sustainability, sustainable agriculture, etc. And I'm just happy to be on here with you guys. Exciting.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So let me take you on a thought journey. This is our third week, and we have spoken previously about the power of our food choices and our purchases to change the lives and our world and our ecosystems, and the tremendous impact Western agriculture has, and literally our purchasing and supporting the whole governmental applied concept of what a healthy diet is, which is usually controlled by corporations and so on. And it's got really nothing to do with people, human beings, actually eating a healthy diet and living close to nature. So we've looked at that as like the major sort of direction of what we were talking about. And then the second thing I came up with was whether it's a better idea to be a vegan or a vegetarian, or just continue to eat meat. And of course, those things impact our environment to a great degree. What I would like to talk about this week is how diet has affected my life personally, on a personal level. So the first thing I think about is I am a captain on yachts, and I was a marine engineer when I was young, and I've done ocean crossings, and I've literally sailed from island to island in the Caribbean and the Bahamas and around the US coastline and Hawaii. So I've done a lot of traveling on yachts. And one of the most important things is when you actually provision your yacht. Of course, you've got to make sure that you're leaving land, so you've got to take fresh water with you. You've got to make sure that the food you take has different lifespans and things like that. So you buy at the last second. You go into the wherever you can, get the freshest of fresh fruits and vegetables that you can, and you leave the shore. As you're heading out, you need to eat what's freshest, what spoils the soonest first, and then like things like cabbages and squashes, and those things last longer. So by planning your meals and planning what your purchases were first in the beginning, because I mean, if you didn't plan that, you would end up with not enough dried. And because I was a vegan on my crossing from South Africa to the United States, and so I couldn't eat fish. I couldn't eat anything that was flesh or cheese or anything like that. So there are many, many things that you can do to make sure that you have enough dried and enough pickled and canned if necessary, if you can't get anything else. And then, of course, your fresh fruits and nuts and vegetables and everything that you start off with. Then, of course, planning your meals and making sure you don't eat the wrong stuff first is critical, because you'll end up just throwing your food overboard because it'll just rot. And there's so many techniques. It's like every 3 days, at least, you must turn your eggs over so that they last longer. If you do have people who are eating cheese, they break it up into smaller balls or put it into oil vats and things like that to make sure that you're able to take what you need and use it over a longer period of time. But it's so important to get that right, because that journey, I actually had another captain in charge, and he wasn't a vegan. So that concept of scurvy when you go to sea, it killed many, many ancient mariners throughout history, because they didn't know that like a fundamental nutrient like vitamin C, which we just take for granted because it's like, oh, we just eat fruit, and you can do that on land. But once you get out to sea, if you haven't taken what you need and you end up out at sea, you're going to die. In ancient mariner times, their teeth would fall out, their gums would bleed, they would literally bruise terribly easily, and eventually their organs would collapse and they would die at sea. And in our days, we can take vitamin C tablets. But what I'm telling you the story about is so important, because the fundamental vitamins and minerals and nutrients that we need to sustain a healthy life should all come from healthy food. And our food is not healthy the way it's produced and grown in modern agriculture. And there are so many better methods like natural agriculture, permaculture, polyculture. The one I like most is natural agriculture, which was developed by Masanobu Fukuoka in Japan. And it really tries to work as close and as in harmony with Mother Nature as possible. So that to me is the one really important thing. So here I am living in America, going down US 1 and turning into Sunrise, and a truck hits me from behind. I've got neck injury, middle back injury, and lower back injury. For 9 months, I can't work. I put on weight. I was like 30 pounds overweight. And just randomly out of the blue, I decided I really need to go to Costa Rica. So I put it out there on the internet. And a guy who I'd met while I was working on repairing yachts calls me up and says, Dennis, you really want to go to Costa Rica? I mean, we've got these casitas on the beach in Costa Rica, and all we need is somebody to look after our dogs and look after the casitas, and you can surf all day. And I feel like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. But of course, I had this back injury, so I said, okay, fine. And I went there, and the first thing I did is I said, okay, I'm not eating a single thing that comes from America, nothing processed, just no food from America, because there's just too many corporations and poisons and herbicides and pesticides and rubbish going on within their food industry. And so it's really not healthy. And while I was in America, living later on, I got this really bad cancer. But now that I'm back in South Africa with healthy food, it's almost totally gone. So I'm in Costa Rica. I go to their local market once a week and I buy fruits and vegetables and legumes and everything that a vegan needs. And every morning I wake up, I feed the dogs, I make myself green tea and turmeric and black pepper and put all of the greens and the bananas to sweeten it, or any other fruit just to sweeten it if I wanted it sweet. But I would make these warm tea smoothies and drink 2 glasses of that. And then I would go for a walk out onto the muddy paths and the muddy roads, and then the gravel. Walking barefoot and grounding is like a really therapeutic healing process. I'd walk down the gravel, like trying to bear it. And it really does. It stimulates all of the pressure points and everything in your feet, which connects to your organs, which is really healthy for you. It's like acupuncture on stones. I walked out onto the beaches with the dogs, and I would walk every day, take them for, I don't know, maybe a 4 mile walk, way, way, way down to the inlet. It was a lagoon with crocodiles in it, believe it or not. And then I'd walk all the way back through the bush on the muddy pathways and back to the house. So I did this for the first 10 days, and I was like really scared that I would not be able to do anything else. And I started surfing small waves for about 3 days, and then all of a sudden it put my neck out. I couldn't touch a hair on my head. This back injury and the neck injury was just out of control. So for about 10 days, I just kept on walking and I kept on eating that diet. And slowly but surely, I started to heal in about the 11th, 12th day. And then the headaches were gone. I started to do some more exercise. I started to surf. I started to jog on the beach with the dogs. I started to do yoga. And before I knew it, I was like running and sprinting with the dogs along the beach and playing and doing yoga and surfing 6 hours a day. I mean, of course, it progressively built up. But by the end, I was surfing 6 hours a day, which is an enormous amount of time. And when I surf, I catch a wave and then a wave and a wave and a wave. I don't stop for like that period of time. Like I think it was 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, because at low tide, it wasn't really surfable. So just by changing my diet, that smoothie in the morning, and of course at lunchtime I'd eat greens and salads and whatever. And if I wanted to steam something, I ideally stuck to raw, green, healthy fruits and vegetables, with all of the legumes and the nuts and everything that are necessary for a healthy diet. Because as a vegan, you've got to balance all those things, which are critically important. And at night, if I needed to eat rice and whatever, and those other things like beans for extra protein and so on, I would cook that. But in 3 months, I transformed my life. I went from 30 pounds overweight to being my 17-year-old weight of 167 pounds. I'd healed my spine. I'd healed in every way. I was 100% healthy. I came back to Florida and I walked down the beach so proud. I was suntan. I was just so super healthy, and people were looking at me as I walked by, and that's the power of eating a healthy, locally grown. I mean, the soil in Costa Rica is beautiful and it's rich, and it hasn't been over tilled and destroyed. So that's my story for now, and I'll carry on with something else afterwards.